Well, let me also welcome on board Hemang Jani and talk about what his market view is. Hemang, hi, morning. Good to speak with you. We were just debating earlier today whether OMCs are now getting priced to perfection, and is there valuation comfort there? What's your take?
Good morning, Aisha. In fact, this entire PSU rally that we've seen, I think almost now, 6 months or so, it's been quite surprising for a lot of participants. And though we might feel that because of the sheer price move that has happened, are the valuations looking stretched? But if you look at, let's say, for example, OMCs that you talked about, OMCs, HPCL, BPCL, IOCR, putting at somewhere around 1.2 price to book. This quarter numbers have been too good, but even if you were to take a slightly more realistic and sustainable kind of numbers, one can look at a decent growth of 18-20% if the crude prices remain stable. So I don't think the valuations are out of whack. Yes, the prices have moved up, so the comfort in terms of putting incremental money, maybe a little less, but the whole consensus, if you look at, let's say, for example, a company like Gale or Petronet, everybody has a sell call, companies delivering, ROE is at 20-22%, then at some point people will want to participate there. So I am little positive. You might see near-term volatility, but I definitely think that some companies are still looking attractive.
Himang, did you manage to check out some of the numbers which are coming in from the companies such as Fusion Microfinance or Ugrow, the SME oriented or the small finance bank, that universe? Do you like any name out there? Yesterday, Fusion have posted some 25% growth in earnings as well as profitability.
No, Ajay, unfortunately, I haven't looked at some of these smaller, fintech companies. And as we all know, the entire space is buzzing a lot, and we had seen a big movement, whether it is at this point of time because of the uncertainty around the regulatory move and what implications it may have. Not really looking at any specific records at this point.
No problem. Later in the day, in fact, you can catch that discussion coming in. Fusion would be there on the show. But Aisha, you had a view on, you were checking out Butterfly Gandhimati, right?
Yeah, and I'm quite shocked,
Yeah.
right? Because this was one of those H&I favorite names, if I can call it that. And I'm just looking at the kind of damage that they've had in the third quarter. Their EBITDA has tumbled about 89.5%. Margins have seen a massive squeeze, 1% versus a comparable of 9 odd percent. Wonder what went wrong, because this can't be a sudden drop,
So this
right?
is
It
now a
has to be a
Crompton Group company.
gradual one, yeah.
So there are two, three things. This entire space of consumer durables are actually going through a very lean patch. Plus, my view is that before the magic of Crompton can start showing in that company, I'm assuming that there would be some amount of kitchen sinking which is happening there. So
Quote
let's
unquote.
quote
Yeah.
unquote. Yeah, Himang, have you tracked Butterfly Gandhimati or Crompton taking over? See what happened to escorts, right? When Kubota took over, complete re-rating. But there were 1 or 2 quarters of kind of lull. So Butterfly and Crompton taking over. Any thoughts there, and how numbers will
So
improve from
I
here
had
on?
not looked at the company in detail, but the entire, the brand, particularly in the South India that they have, somewhere because Crompton took over that company, there was a hope and expectation that you will be able to see some, good numbers kicking in. Maybe it takes some time to, bring about an integration. But these numbers, if you look at the top line, it was 238 crore. I mean, significant drop. So very hard to believe. And these are not the things where you can say that because of integration, it is taking time, whatever. But this is not something that is giving comfort. So I would completely stay away at this point.
A lot of other interesting earnings, which have come out. There's, of course, BSE as well, wherein their transaction charges have seen an uptick of a massive 68%. The revenue has seen a growth of about almost 19, 18 odd percent on a sequential basis. Then, of course, there's Sundaram Finance as well. Decent numbers there. Disbursement uptick of nearly 17.5%. AUMs as well have shot up nearly 26% on a year-on-year basis. There's IEX as well, which you may want to look out for, besides, of course, the big ones, which is in Ashok Leyland and Bharti. So a lot of numbers there.
In fact, BSE's numbers, very phenomenal numbers.
Of course.
And the reason is that every quarter they are actually launching something new, and sequentially their volumes are going high, especially in the FNO side and Sensex Bank futures. Also, the NSE price in the OTC market, which is the immediate comparable, has actually shot up to closer to 4,000. So, this particular stock appeared stretched to everybody, but the kind of numbers they are coming in and the comparable is going higher. Hemang, thoughts on BSE?
What a spectacular story, Ajay. People had kind of almost written off this company, but I think the way they've bounced back. Also, if you look at their derivative performance, their market share continues to inch up. And more importantly, if you listen to the con call and the details which have emerged, they are developing a co-location facility, which would have a major ramification because, the entire this algorithmic trading and the kind of work which is happening, they will be able to participate. Also, the new MF platform and the data services. So I think this is definitely looking like a big story in the making, and because we don't have too many options when it comes to the capital marketplace, specifically the exchange. I think BSE would be a sole beneficiary of this entire growth and attention which is happening.
To add to the list of earnings, and on the positive side, Idea Forge as well. And, they've turned profitable this quarter versus a loss that they clocked in the same quarter last year. Revenue as well has come in at about almost 91 crore rupees, and we're looking at a comparable figure of just about 8 crore rupees in the corresponding quarter. Linde India, the EBITDA has shot up about almost 9 odd percent or so. Insecticides India. So a lot of these mid-cap companies where, yes, Ajay, we are sort of, seeing the amber light that the negative of the earnings are, left behind. But a lot of these mid and small cap companies have posted phenomenal growth as well.
Actually, the truth lies that if you analyze all the numbers come so far, mega caps, or I'll say BSE 100 companies, are slightly softish on the earnings. The broader markets have up till now at least kept pace with the earnings. So it will be interesting the second half how it actually pans out. There was another company which I wanted to discuss, Sundaram Finance. Out of the NBFC space, the quality NBFC space, Sundaram Finance is up there, and very good asset growth, asset quality under check. Hemang, this is the time for NBFCs, no? If indeed rates, tip out by mid of this year and we head lower, it is the NBFCs which will benefit most. Which one would you play for?
I do agree that for NBFCs, the current scenario is quite supportive. And, as you see, some of these fintech companies, the wallet companies going through a bit of disruption, maybe part of that flow can also move to a far more solid NBFCs. And within that, what we like is surely Cholamandalam Finance has been our preferred pick, though it's a little expensive, but from a stability and growth perspective, that's looking good. IIFL Finance again is delivering a very solid sort of numbers consistently, and there is a lot of comfort on the valuation front. So definitely some of these companies we would go with, and we do think that the overall weight of NBFCs in the index will do slightly better because of the incremental flows coming into from the SIP book and general HNI participation. So NBFC the space is something that we would go with. Of course, some of the housing companies like LIC Housing, given the trust in the budget and the kind of incentives which are there. So LIC Housing will be one stock that we prefer at this point of time.
Bharti Airtel, the way numbers have come out, and The buzz for a possible tariff hike by mid of this year is getting louder. Silent mover crossed 1,000, now 1,100 plus. How do you look at Bharti now?
Very steady set of numbers, both in terms of India operations. The margins were slightly weak, but better than consensus. And what is very important, Ajay, to note is that of all the players which are there, let's say if you compare with Jio, of course, Vodafone, it would not be fair to compare. But in terms of operating matrices, Bharti scores ahead uh, vis-a-vis Jio in a meaningful way. Though the subscriber addition is not that good, R2, EBITDA margins, they're doing much better. So I think we don't have too many, plays, and Bharti will have to be a key allocation, for majority of the investors. And this year itself, the telecom will be one of the best performing sectors in terms of growth and contribution to Nifty. So surely, Bharti would be there as one of the core holdings.
Okay. Anything else you have on your own radar and your research, Hemang, which you are studying right now?
So Varun Beverages, Ajay came out with very solid numbers in terms of revenue, volume growth, acquisition, which they are looking to do in Africa. Maybe a little bit of concern on the debt side, but this is like something very clean and very high conviction kind of a story that one can really look at. So definitely we would be looking at some of the pharma companies where the traction is looking good, both in terms of large caps and some of the mid cap companies. The MNC companies are delivering good performance, whether it's Abbott, Glaxo, some of the mid cap pharma companies. So pharma would be one sector where we would have a positive view given the enhanced visibility coming from US and domestic market.
Right. What exactly is your take right now on what to do with Paytm? I mean, is it just a clear avoid? And for those who are, in the stock right now, should they be booking out? Hemang?
So Aisha, stock has corrected 40%. A lot of uncertainty. So for those who are brave hearts, in fact, unfortunately, this time around, way the circuit filters work, many investors could not even get an exit, which is quite painful. So I would think that it would be good to stay away if you have a small exposure. Anyway, you can just wait for some time, more clarity to emerge. But I'm not buying into this whole thing that maybe a Geo will buy out a Paytm wallet or some other guys. I think those are just speculative stories. We should wait for some more clarity to emerge from the Paytm management on what exactly they are planning to do. That would give far more comfort to investors, but nothing you can do at this point, Aisha.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, the stock has just been locked in lower circuit from the word go. But